Hello there. I don't know if you realized something really important in the last video, and that's just how important healthy fats are in your diet and the serious health issues that can arise if you don't have them. It's so important, that's why I'm making this video. You know, it's funny how people say Kara and I are high fat. We're not high fat. Sure, we have some fat in our diet, but to those people, any fat is high fat. They're all brainwashed that fats and oils are bad for you or eating fats makes you fat. Do Kara and I look fat? No, but I can tell you we're not gaunt or shriveled up looking. We're not losing our hair, our teeth, our bones, and not aging as quickly. Our hormones are great. We have lots of energy. And yes, our blood pressure and our blood tests are exemplary. Aside from the fact that every cell membrane in our body is made of lipids, in other words, fats literally what's holding us together, let me give you definitive proof we need healthy fats in our diet. Maybe you didn't get this in the last video and just how important this is. All right. The liver makes bile around the clock, no matter what. Why do you think that is? The gallbladder is there to collect it, where it can get concentrated more. People who had their gallbladder removed finally realize how important the gallbladder really is and what life is like without it. But even without a gallbladder, the liver still continues to make bile. So what is bile? What is the purpose of bile? Well, it does multiple things. First of all, it breaks down fats and oils in our diet. And if we didn't need fats and oils in our diet, why would the liver constantly be making bile and pancreas be producing lipase? Our body can't actually use fats and oils until they're broken down to the molecular level, which is what bile and lipase does. Without these broken down fats, we cannot absorb fat-soluble vitamins, which we need to function properly, like vitamin A, D, E, and K. Without these vitamins, our eyes would stop working right, our bones would crumble, our heart would malfunction. Bile is what cleanses also the liver and carries toxins and cholesterol out of the liver. If the liver becomes too clogged, we die. Liver also creates and regulates hormones, and bile is required to keep the liver clean and functioning properly, and bile production is only good when we consume healthy fats and oils. People on a low-fat or no-fat diet have very little bile, so it starts to dry up and mix with cholesterol and crystallize into gallstones. Bile is also required for the conversion of T4 to T3 thyroid hormone, so without a properly functioning gallbladder, the thyroid can't function properly either. Without bile, the pancreas can't function properly. The list goes on. Bile is antibacterial, so without bile, bacteria starts to grow in the small intestine in a condition called SIBO, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with nowadays. You get the idea. We need bile. Bile is not that strong when it comes out of the liver, so that's why we have a gallbladder to capture it and store it and allow it to become more concentrated. But if it doesn't get used enough because the person isn't consuming enough healthy fats, then the bile becomes too concentrated and turns into a thick sludge and eventually into gallstones. Like I said, bile is only released when we consume foods with healthy fats. And once that happens, fat-soluble vitamins get absorbed into the body and thyroid hormones are produced, digestion starts working right, eyesight improves, muscles, bones, everything improves. And none of this would happen if we didn't regularly consume some healthy fats. Even olive oil is great for bile production, and avocados, and coconuts, and durian, and peanut butter, nuts, seeds, olive oil, coconut, and obviously some animal products if you're into that. The point is, you need to eat things you find in nature as close to the form that you find it in nature. So this does not include bad fats and oils like soy, corn, cottonseed, palm, safflower, and other highly processed vegetable oils or fried food. So those are all high in omega-6, and this is where you need to pay attention because bad fats and oils, along with alcohol, drugs, sugar, and stress, are highly inflammatory, and inflammation attracts LDL, which builds plaque, clogs arteries, and results in high blood pressure and heart attacks. So be careful because bad fats can kill you, whereas healthy fats are anti-inflammatory. They can help save you. Olive oil, nuts, seeds, and avocados, for example, contain monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats which help lower LDL, reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and may reduce the risk of blood clot formation. Not having omega-3 fatty acids in your diet is like an invitation for a heart attack. And your body cannot even absorb omega-3 fatty acids without bile, and you don't get bile without healthy fats and oils in your diet. Our brain is 80% fat. Your entire nervous system is insulated with it. You cannot exist very long without fats in your diet. So those of you who are on a low-fat or no-fat diet, I seriously suggest you rethink your fuel source. Most people who avoid fats and oils do so because they either think it will make them fat or they heard it's unhealthy. Well, don't worry. Fat does not make you fat. Studies show, for example, people eating lots of peanut butter did not gain weight. In fact, some of them lost weight. Why? Well, because fats and oils make you feel full, so you're not hungry a lot longer, so you eat less. You can go a long time without eating after eating healthy fats. But if you eat carbs and sugar, you'll be hungry all day long, eat way more calories than high-fat, low-carb people. Try it out. You'll be amazed. Why do you think all those people who switched to carnivore are doing so good? Because they stopped eating pizza, bagels, pancakes, cereal, bread, pasta, cookies, cakes, sugars, soft drinks, and they started eating basically just protein, fats, and maybe some vegetables. I'm not saying to go carnivore, but the reason so many vegans are unhealthy is because they eat processed food, and they have lots of sugar, and many of them avoid healthy fats and oils because they don't want to get fat or they were told it was bad for them. But almost everything they eat is unhealthy and bad for them. They eat fake meat, fake cheese, bread, pasta, cookies, and lots of high-sugar fruit juice. Nothing wrong with whole fruit, but there's almost no fat whatsoever in mangoes, bananas, watermelon, grapes, and berries. Your body was designed to use some fat. Sure, your body can run on glucose, but your body can make its own glucose out of just about anything. You don't need to eat it. And yes, it can turn unused food into fat, but the body cannot use its stored fat to produce and circulate bile. You need to actually swallow some healthy fats to make that process work. So as radical as this may sound, you don't need sugar, but you do need some healthy fats in your diet. Not a whole bunch. I'm not saying go crazy with fats and oils, but just a little bit of olive oil, some avocados, and peanut butter isn't gonna kill you. You know, the sad irony in all this is women do low-fat diets to try to lose weight and be attractive, but low-fat diets leads to having their gallbladders removed, so bacteria starts to grow out of control in their intestines with SIBO and bloating. Their thyroid doesn't work right anymore, so their metabolism slows down and they start gaining all this weight, the very thing they tried to avoid in the first place. Most body fat is from carbohydrates, not dietary fat. Carbs trigger insulin, which stores fat, but eating healthy fats does not raise insulin or cause fat gain because you can easily overeat carbs, but it's very difficult to overeat healthy fats. Fat has twice the amount of energy that sugar and glucose does, and it's essential for the central nervous system development, and it's necessary for the body to absorb fat-soluble vitamins, to get enough essential fatty acids. Plus, it's needed to produce hormones like testosterone, which cannot be formed without healthy fats. Unhealthy fats, on the other hand, kill testosterone and produce estrogen. So how much fat should we eat? Well, the opinions vary. Then the National Institute of Health recommends for like a 2,500 calorie diet, 20 to 25%, it's about 700 calories or 70 grams of healthy fats on a 2,500 calorie diet. Healthline recommends up to 200 grams of fat depending on the activity level. So opinions vary. Remember, healthy fat is better for you than unhealthy fats, and if you eat a little too much, it's not that big of a deal. But most people do not consume healthy fats. A 2019 study that I remember reading recently showed that Americans consume more than 50% of their daily calories. Half the food they eat is from low-quality carbohydrates. And that causes all kinds of health issues, including inflammation, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and of course, death. Half your food is saturated fat. This gives fat a bad name because people confuse bad fats with good fats that we need. Most people don't get enough good fats, but they get way too many bad fats. And it's not that hard to get enough good fats. Like one avocado has 22 grams. 2 tablespoons of olive oil is 28 grams. Half a cup of cashews, like a handful of cashews, that's like 28 grams also. That's 78 grams right there. There's your daily requirement right there. See how easy that is? Half a cup of pumpkin seeds, 35 grams. Half a cup of peanut butter, 65 grams. 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, that's another 28 grams. Now, of course, part of the healthy fats that we need are the essential fatty acids known as the omegas, omega-3 being the big one, but we do need some of the other ones also. Seafood is obviously a good source of that, but, I know the plant people like to say chia and flax, but there are other ones also. I'll bet most people don't know that purslane, which is a weed that grows out there, actually has a lot of omegas. The biggest one of all on the land plants is sea buckthorn. It doesn't really grow in the sea. It's a bush that grows on land, and it's very, very high in omega-3, 7, 9. It's got all the ones that we need in the correct proportions, and it's very rich in the omegas. It's actually in my vitamin C formula. It's really, really good. It's very high in vitamin C. Sea buckthorn, really, really good source. And of course, algae. You can buy a green powder. Algae is really high. So there are vegan, vegetarian, plant-based sources of all the omegas that we need. And you should have your flax and chia anyway because the soluble fiber and all the good stuff that stuff offers you. Now here's another interesting observation. Make of it whatever you will. People are afraid to eat nuts as a source of protein because they say nuts have more fat than protein. It's just loaded with fat. I'm afraid of fat. Remember how mother's milk was 4 times more fat than protein? Interestingly enough, the composition of nuts isn't that much different. Like take an almond, for example, 50% lipids, or fat, 90% of which is oleic and linoleic acids. Saturated fat is less than 10%. It's 25% protein, 20% carbs, and it's got some fiber, which is a prebiotic. Vitamins like vitamin E, which is a group of 8 fat-soluble antioxidants and help protect cells from damage. It's got vitamins in it. They also contain B vitamins like thiamine, B6, and folate. It's got minerals like calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc, copper, calcium. And it also has phytosterols, monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat. Pine nuts, the composition varies depending on the species that you get, but they vary between 45 to 68% of pine nuts is fat, healthy fats, whereas only 19 to 30% is protein and 14% is carbs. Pine nuts are a rich source of micronutrients, particularly manganese, phosphorus, magnesium, copper, vitamin E, vitamin K, B vitamins like thiamine, niacin, plus a bunch of others. Cashews, 30% carb, 44% fat, and only 18% protein. Russian women are known for making mother's milk replacement using pine nuts. Throw a bunch of pine nuts or almonds or cashews or whatever into a blender with water and presto, healthy, all-natural milk replacement. Check out veganmilk.com where I show you how to make 5 different types within 30 seconds. Some fruits have a similar profile. Durian, for example. An avocado has 15 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fat, 15 grams monounsaturated, 4 grams polyunsaturated, only 3 grams saturated. And only 3 grams of protein, along with low sodium levels. Avocados contain no cholesterol. So they all have very similar profiles to mother's milk. People are afraid of saturated fat, and the internet is overflowing with opinions on both sides. Saturated fatty acids, SFAs, have no double bonds in their carbon chain, so the carbons are said to be saturated with hydrogen. They're very stable at high temperatures and far less likely to be damaged during cooking than polyunsaturated fats. SFAs intake can raise LDL bad cholesterol in some people, although this depends on the specific fatty acids consumed. It depends on the type. They're not all fatty acids, not all saturated fats are bad. It also should also be noted that HDL, the good cholesterol, typically goes up as well. In fact, some foods high in saturated fat may benefit metabolic health. For example, studies suggest that the medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, and coconut oil actually boost metabolic rate, makes your metabolism go up, and it reduces calorie intake. Now, the American Heart Association recommends maybe 5 to 6% of your daily fat intake should be saturated. In other words, if you're on a diet of 2,000 calories a day, you should only consume about 15 grams of saturated fat. I personally think that that's kind of low. And again, healthy fats do not make you fat. I was eating large amounts of coconut oil and olive oil and avocados and tons of nuts about 15 years ago, and this is what I look like. I mean, I couldn't get fat for the life of me. Interestingly enough, coconut oil boosts your thyroid function, and a healthy thyroid keeps you thin and full of energy and hormones, and there's definitely no hormone shortage with moi. Trans fats are the bad ones. Those are the ones you want to avoid, and that's what most people eat. Pretty much all store-bought salad dressings, crackers, chips, pastries. If you bought something in the store that came in a bag or a jar or a box, it probably has trans fats in it. Look at the label. If it says cottonseed oil or palm oil or soy oil or corn oil or canola, rapeseed, sunflower, safflower, or any other seed oil, you probably have inflammation, belly fat, and health issues. This is why most people think oils are bad and they avoid all oils or fats. You know, have you ever noticed how some fruitarians and even some 80-10-10 people don't look so good? They're skin and bones. They're losing their hair and their teeth, and they have hypoglycemic mood swings. It's because they avoid fats and oils like the plague, and they only eat sweet fruits. Since 1970, consumption of mangoes has exploded over 3,200%. Funny, you don't see consumption of cucumbers skyrocketing like that. Cucumbers are a fruit, but they're not loaded with sugar, right? They're not addictive. All they eat is mangoes and bananas and pineapple and orange juice, and they wonder why their teeth are rotting. They say Kara and I are high-fat, low-carb people. No, I think we eat a balanced diet. Half fruit, half greens with nuts, seeds, nut butter, spices, and herbs. For every mango that we eat, it's not like we don't eat fruit. We do eat fruit, but for every mango we eat about probably 8 cucumbers, 4 coconuts, and 3 avocados. Those are all fruit, but they're not all sweet fruits. In fact, coconuts, avocados, and durian are fruit, but they contain lots of natural healthy fats also. Coconut is not really a nut, it's a fruit, so they should call it cocoa fruit. That has a nice ring to it, cocoa fruit, not coconut, right? Anyway, not all oils are bad. I use extra virgin olive oil like biryani and unrefined raw coconut oil, or even just raw coconuts. I mean, just the whole thing, the meat and the water. You know, farmers used to give coconut oil to their cows to try to fatten them up, and instead the cows got ripped and lean and got healthier. Remember, the Mediterranean diet is one of the healthiest in the world, and they consume lots of olive oil. Can you eat too much healthy fat, and is it bad for you? I don't worry about it. You want to know why? Because unlike unhealthy fats and oils, it's really hard to overeat healthy fats. You can only eat so many avocados or peanut butter before you're full, and you just can't eat any more for the next 5 hours. Like I said, you can even end up eating less overall because you're feeling full longer. No carb attacks, no snacking all day. And I'm talking about peanut butter without sugar or salt added, obviously, so it's not addictive. If you can find it in nature, and you eat it in the form that you find it in nature. In other words, eat an apple, not an apple pie. Eat peanuts, but not peanut butter cookies. Then you'll know when you ate enough, and you'll only eat when you have to. You won't get fat. You won't get tired. You'll probably live a lot longer, too. Don't instantly believe everything you see or hear on the internet. Everyone claims to be an expert. Many of them cite studies that were paid for by special interest groups that wanted a specific outcome. Go by your own experience. This is what I do. And I've been eating this way for 30 years. I'm 62 years old. I'm doing a lot better than most people my age. I'm not fat. I still have my hair. I don't need glasses. I have lots of energy and more hormones than should be legal. And I'm not slowing down. So don't believe everything you see or hear. Trust your own experience. But remember also, that does not come from simply taking something. I also stop eating 3 hours before I go to sleep, and I go to sleep around 9 or 10. I walk about 15 to 19,000 steps a day. I go to the gym 3 days a week. I get lots of sunlight. I eat mainly raw vegan food. I don't smoke anything. I've never touched alcohol or coffee in my life, and I avoid stress whenever possible. True health is a package deal. Read my book, Heal Yourself 101. You can download the ebook for free if you don't want the beautiful shiny paperback, and get it at healyourself101.com. And try it out. See what happens when you eat closer to nature without cheating, and watch how it can change your life. So for your liver to work properly and to clean your liver, you need bile flowing. In order to get bile flowing, you need some healthy fats and oils in your diet, like olive oil. Just put some in your salad or whatever. Stop the bad stuff that's killing your liver, like alcohol, antibiotics, medications, estrogen, hormone therapy. All that stuff is killing your liver and making things worse for you. So if you don't want gallstones and you want to have a long, healthy, happy life, eat some olive oil, some peanut butter, nuts and seeds, whatever is healthy, coconut oil, whatever you can find, and some healthy fats. Put it in your diet. Don't go crazy with it, but you need some in there. What a feeling it is when you're clean and strong and everything is working flawlessly like a well-oiled machine. Did you get that? I'll see you in the next video.